it's not that hard to imagine that I would believe that this little statue was going to bring some sort of comfort to me and be sort of like my guardian angel. And then, of course, I had it for a long time, so it proved true after a while. I felt better if I had her near me. If she was on my windowsill and fell down, she never broke. She was like magical to me. So I thought she was everything. I would take her with me. If I'd go spend the night at friends' houses even, I'd roll her up in my pillow and I would know she was there and no one else would. And she just made me feel really better to have her with me all the time. And so I went to school in the 3rd grade on a Friday one time with my statue. My mom had rolled it all up really carefully in a big finger newspaper. And as I was walking across the blacktop, kind of a not very nice girl that wasn't, well, she was probably perfectly fine. Again, perspective. She wasn't very nice to me. And she came up and said, what day are you bringing for show and tell today? And I said, well, I have a statue of Mary that I'm bringing. And she just thought that was the dumbest thing, because there were statues of Mary everywhere. So what I have is not considered very special. She says, well, I'm bringing my Barbie or whatever she had that was way better. And I said, well, mine is magic. And she said, prove it. I'll never forget it. I can still hear her and see her in my mind saying, prove it. And I picked up this bundle, threw it on the ground, and it just shattered into a million pieces. What? Is that sad? See, can't you just see that in like a movie or in a book? You can see that scene playing out. And I always remembered that, how devastated I was when that happened. And when I got older, I sat down to write a story about that, about what happened and how I felt. And what ended up coming out was a short story. But then it wouldn't leave me alone. The characters kept talking to me, and then they evolved away from me, so it wasn't me anymore that was talking, it was some other character. And that's how this story came about, was from the heartbreak of that. And then I thought, I somehow want to put the pieces back together again. That was always a sad thing and that never had a resolution when I was young. So I thought, I'm going to give myself some resolution for that broken statue. Your ballet shoes, your soccer ball, your brother, recycling, the planet, your parents, fishing, soccer. Okay, so let's write soccer.
Should we write this down on our own papers?
I want you to write down the things that are important to you, yeah. Or if you think these are good ideas, you write them down too. And like I said, you don't have to do a heart, you can do a square, or if you know how to do like the outline of a dog. Or these are all characters, okay? So for in your case, you might start with an ice skater, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could start, you can't really start with, lasagna can't really be a character, but you know what, maybe you can, right? You can have lasagna be a character. Maybe it's like afraid of cheese or something, and then how could you be lasagna without cheese? These are just examples. You all have different ones. So this is kind of what I do sometimes if I'm just needing to wake up my brain and I don't really know what I'm going to write, so I'll do something fun and completely different than what I'm working on as a project. Okay, so I'll take, like this says, it says headmaster with a secret, but I read it as hamster with a secret. So that's fun. There's a hamster with a secret, okay? Okay, so take a hamster with a secret, taking a bath in a ghost town. And then this last one, you don't know, it's an object, okay? So an object is when you get, it's important in a story, I think, because that's where you get your metaphor and your analogies and things from, that are the objects. Cassie is positive we've been spotted and slows down as though suddenly fascinated by the hallway etiquette poster over the water fountain. So she's positive we've been spotted. So that has a little hint of mystery, but you can see right where they are, right? So it's those, which is kind of in the same spirit. All I had to do was walk up to the coffin. That was all. That's the first sentence. So, and that wasn't my first sentence either. Same thing happened to me. I read all this stuff and my friend went, nope, none of that matters. Start right here. And I thought, oh, yeah, because you want that first sentence to put a picture in your reader's brain, okay? Yeah, I want you to copy the sentence, okay? I've had kids write about how, you know, they were running away from something, and so the words that they used were more descriptive that way. I want to know what your character's situation is after that first sentence.
Bottom of the night, he took several deep breaths, and the 19-year-old minor leaguer jogged across the infield, from the bullpen to the mound.
Walked across the blood-stained grass as she cautiously picked up a shard of glass, ready to attack whatever appeared.
Mona Quimby before. I read like almost all of them, but that time I was the only child, and I was the only child for 8 years. And this was talking from a little sister perspective, so when I read it, I pictured me and my parents, and me like my little sister, and I would imagine having a bigger sister. And then I had my sister when I turned 8. And then that was when I realized, like, I don't understand a single part of this book, because being a big sister, I was looking at it from Beezus and not from Ramona.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that's when at first I completely forgot about the book. Then after like a couple months later, I was like, wait a second, these experiences sound a little bit like our situation.
Yeah.
Where I would try to ignore my sister all the time, and then she would come and bug me all the time, and I'll yell at her, and she runs out of my room. And I'm like, how come I pictured this so differently from when I was 7 years old and read this book? And I thought it was really weird, but then I finally got the hang of it. Not that I changed, stopped being like Beezus, but I was like, I kind of get the story now, but...
Do you have more sympathy for Beezus now?
Yeah, I always thought Beezus was really mean when I was